So it's raining today. I'm going to show you how to use Google Earth and do a little bit of prospecting from the house. I'm going to show you how to download free files, GPS coordinates to exact mines that are known and documented, even geology reports that tell you here's where they were finding gold, here's the rock to look for, everything, everywhere, wherever you want. It's all free data. It's all hosted on the internet. You just got to know where to look. So I'm going to post a lot of these links. Please give me a like, subscribe, because I'm going to try and put out as much information and do some detailed videos and hopefully give a lot of good information that I've learned. A lot of it's free. You don't always have to ask somebody. You just got to know how to search the internet, what keywords to use. What's cool is a lot of these universities are scanning old newspapers from a long time ago, and so now you just got to search these internet databases and use keywords, but you can find a lot of old pictures, lots of real articles. So I'm going to throw a bunch of bonus stuff in there. Maybe some of you don't know there were German spies supposedly in the canyon, and murders going on because of that and exposing it, and a lot of this is real information. So I'll show you how to find some of this stuff. Even meteorites, a lot of that's documented, exact GPS coordinates where meteorites are being found. So hang out. Like I say, it's a rainy day, so at least we could sit behind a computer and kind of check out some old gold fields and known locations, and I'll show you how to do some really cool stuff in Google Earth. Click on that, go to the download. Here it is here. So here's Google Earth, all installed, ready to go. Now, throughout time, I've got a ton of bookmarks. I've got stuff everywhere, and I'm going to show you how to find it. Here's even some overlays. Now, I want to touch on this. Doing overlays is probably one of the coolest things that you can do. So here's Azusa, for example. Now, you can download these overlays, and I'm going to do a part 2 of this video on how to do this. So as you can see here, here's the rock types for Azusa Canyon specifically. Now this is an overlay, but you can see up here, here's the bridge to nowhere. But this is an overlay telling you what type of rock is in there. The Pelona schist, you might want to Google that one day. But SCH, what do these mean? So I'm going to show you that real fast. PCC, so this is your gneiss granitoid. So this is very handy, schist. Basically, it tells you exactly what rock you're crossing through. I'll show you a really cool picture later on of the Stanley Miller mine. I have an aerial photo from 1928, and I was able to overlay it. This overlay still shows the buildings, and the mill was still standing back then. So I'll show you that at the end of this video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. Okay, once you have Google Earth installed, take your time and explore. You're going to find a lot of places that you've dug in the past. You'll want to study those areas. Try to figure out why you were finding gold there and what makes that a good spot. Google Earth has a lot to offer. One of the first websites that you want to go to as soon as you get Google Earth to mrdata.usgs.gov. Now I'm going to add these links down in the description so you can get to it pretty easy. So once you go to this web page, you're going to want to scroll down, and this is what you want, the Mineral Resources Data System. So click on that. Now there's a lot to select right here, but what you want, the easiest thing to do is go right here. You want to download data for a geographic area that you choose. Now this gives you the option to start in any state you want. So of course we'll go California. And what we're looking for is we're going to download Los Angeles County, because that's where Azusa is, and it's going to list every mineral mine that's ever been documented. And what we're looking for is you want to come right here and you want to download the Google Earth. So there's 736 records, documented mines. Now what that does is this gives us the option to download a file for Google Earth. So just go ahead and click on that, and you'll see it's right here. Now once you have it downloaded, just go ahead and click on it. And Google Earth is going to open that file. And within that file, you basically have access to every single documented mineral mine or property that was ever documented. So at this point, let's just not get overwhelmed. Let's just zoom in here on Azusa itself, San Gabriel Canyon. So here you can start clicking on things. Here's the Happy Day placer, and it tells you it was a placer, a past producer. The #1 commodity was gold. Here's another one. This is up Cattle Canyon, pour full. Here's another documented gold placer. So once you download this, this is a very easy way to find out past areas that had gold. You can do it for any state, any county, and it will list every documented mine. Okay. Now this is the quickest way to kind of get an idea of where some of these old time mines used to be. Here you go. We have the right where the incline is going to the bridge. Here's the incline. Over here, this is where the San Gabriel Mining Company, they had a huge operation going on here. So like I said, this is a very, very handy resource to have. Okay, so I'm going to show you another resource where you can find a bunch of GPS coordinates. So come over here, and what you need to go to is you want to look for minedat.org. So do a Google search. I'll add a link in the description so it's easy to get to. So now I already did a search for the Stanley Miller mine. Now if you look right here, boom, you got GPS coordinates right off the bat. So all you have to do is you can just plug that straight in to Google Earth, and you can go straight to it. Now you'll have to adjust some of this text in there when you add it to Google Earth. So we're going to copy that. I'll put that right there. Let's go. That's not exactly where Stanley Miller mine, but I tell you what, with this free GPS coordinates, it's going to put you really close. Now let's go back over to that website. Now if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it's got mapped out mines all over that canyon. Scroll down a little further, you hit the jackpot. Now right here, pretty much every documented mine, placer, or anything that's been in the area is going to be listed right here. So for example, if you wanted to look at the Jumbo Channel placer, here's your GPS coordinates. So you can just copy that, and then we're going to paste this in here. Now there's a little gap right here. You don't have to be too critical about it. Usually it'll accept it. And then just let Google Earth do the work for you. So back in the day, let's go back to here. If you need a little more information on what this place was, you can click on it, and sometimes it'll give you a little bit of information. You know, some of the more popular mines, it'll go into detail on where the strike was going, which direction, and where they were digging, what type of rock. So you can get a lot of information on this. I've already taken the time, and I've gone through a lot of stuff for Azusa. I'm going to remove this real fast. So some of the things I have on here, you could tell I have some overlays on there, but I'm going to turn those off real fast here. We have the Stanley Miller mine. I'll show you that later. That's a secret picture. But you can see here, I've already gone through and saved a lot of these places. You know, the Iron Fork Trail that I've been on. Once you find it on Google Earth, it's pretty easy. But now in Google Earth, you can sit back and see where the trails used to go. It's very hard to tell these days. But, you know, there's a lot of information up there. I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag on this stuff. Okay, another place to find some good information, especially, you know, being a member, you can get on the GPAA website and go to google.com, look up GPAA, you'll click on their main page, and then up here you want to go to properties and then their claim directory. Now all you have to do is put in your information, where you live, and it's going to pull up all the claims that are close to that area. Here's an example. So now this is over by Coolgardie area. This is their Hey Buddy #1 claim. If you notice, if you scroll down here a little bit, they actually have GPS coordinates for a lot of their claims. And you're just going to copy it and you're going to paste it in Google Earth. Now you can see right here, it's weird. It's not going to accept this. It doesn't know what it means. So you'll have to play with it. You'll have to get rid of some of this junk. So degrees, you want to take that out. Take that out. And let's see if that'll work. No, it still doesn't like it. Let's see. There we go. So you'll see that you'll have the GPS coordinates. You're just going to have to adjust it so it's in a format that Google Earth understands. Okay, so I've showed you how to find it on the GPAA website, mindat.org, the USGS. The next very handy resource is just using Google. Just type in keywords, you know, geological surveys. There's geological surveys that have been done, and they're very specific, very scientific on what they were looking at and analyzing in certain areas. So I'm going to show you how to find those. Google.com, and you want to type, let's try San Gabriel Geological Survey. So you'll get a lot of different options, you know, but usually you find little keywords and you'll start using certain ones and narrow it down. But here's one right here, geology in the eastern San Gabriel Mountains. You know, just click on it, see what it says. It might be handy, you might learn something. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff on the internet. But this right here is from the USGS, and this is from the Sheep Wilderness area. It was a geological survey, and you can pull it up over here, the Geological Survey Bulletin 1506, I think it is. This survey right here goes through in detail the San Gabriel River and what was in it. There's a lot of maps, all the mines documented. If you have some time today, make sure you look up what the Pelona schist is. It's pretty important in San Gabriel River and why there's gold there. So I'm going to come down to the good stuff real fast here. A lot of this stuff, you had scientists going through the river and they were looking for, you know, fine stream sediment, rocks, and they were crushing them up. They were testing on the mountainsides. They were testing everywhere. And they put in here specifics of what they were finding. So here you go, analysis, rocks containing gold in the Sheep Mountain Wilderness, in San Gabriel River. Tungsten. So take your time and read through this report. I think this was amazing. This was like the jackpot when I read through this. It gave me a much better understanding of what I was looking at when you're hiking through that canyon. So I really wanted to share this with everybody. I think this is a hidden gem right here. So now this is pretty cool. Later on, if you scroll through this report a little more, this is where you're going to see actual values of the mines that are up there. So here you have the Bighorn mine. Now they go into detail about what was going on in this mine. They even have maps. So I think this is really cool. Allison mine, and they tell you exactly, you know, where they were getting the gold. It's all right here. So here's the Allison mine. You scroll down a little further, Stanley Miller. All right, that's enough of that. I don't want to show you too much. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to really go through this report. And man, I soak things up like a sponge. So I love looking at this stuff, because the next time you go to Azusa, you're definitely going to look at it a little differently. Nothing like prospecting from home though. Google Earth is a fantastic tool, and then Google in general. Definitely use it to your advantage. So now I've showed you the geology reports and a little bit of everything. Where to find GPS coordinates, a lot of old photos that are being scanned in. Some of these universities like USC, all over the country, they're scanning old newspaper articles, a lot of old photos. So there's a ton of information. So I'm going to show you a couple spots to look and see some old photos from Azusa Canyon. One of the places, Calisphere. So I'll put a link down in the bottom. But here you can see, I mean, these photos are amazing. This right here, let me make it real big for you. I mean, this is a real photo, and they scanned it in. Look at this guy. That's gold. Azusa, San Gabriel River, East Fork. Now, some of the equipment, this is the coolest part about it. You can actually see how they were getting their gold back in the day. I mean, they had these bins that they were coming from the hillsides. They had trolley systems or zip lines for their buckets, and they would come down here and dump them into these bins, and it was like a chute, and then it would funnel down this tube straight into their sluice box. Pretty ingenious. Now, I don't think we can get away with building something like this on the river these days, but I think this is awesome. They knew what they were doing. Now here's another video, or picture, sorry. This picture right here is one of the coolest ones I've seen in that canyon. Now, we all know the ancient river channels high above the present river, but these guys knew about it as well. And so what they were doing is they were digging in these shelves that are high above the current river, and then they were sending it down to those bins, you know, where the sluice boxes were in the river. I kind of wish we could do this stuff today, but I understand the impacts on, you know, this is not large scale mining by any means, but I tell you what, these guys were definitely, you know, making an impact in the side of the hill, finding that gold. Can't blame them. This is another really cool photo. Now, we've all heard the term coyote holes, right? Now this right here, I think this is pretty close to maybe the present day parking lot. But as you can see here, you got a couple coyote holes up top. And you can see the old ancient river channel right here. Now also, see these pipes? Pretty cool stuff. So what they were doing is they were digging into this shelf, and they would just send the dirt down these pipes, down to the river. And that's where they would sluice it out. So that's a pretty cool idea. Pretty simple. Again, I don't think we can get away with doing this kind of stuff these days. But that just goes to show you, these miners were getting gold. Here's kind of a closer look at their bins that they would be working in. So you would have the gold coming down in their little bucket here, and then you had a team down at the bottom, which they would empty it down into their chute, which drops right into the sluice box. Okay, so there's one more really cool picture that I want to show you guys. One day I just stumbled across this website, this photo right here. From a distance, you can't really tell what it is, but it's a 1928 aerial photo of the Narrows, San Gabriel River, okay? Down here at the bottom, you have the bridge. Right here's the entrance to the Narrows. Here's where you have your big rock slide. But in this picture, you can actually see the old miner trails from 1928. Now if we scroll up a little further, here you have Iron Fork. And then if you look real close, here's Stanley Miller. And it still shows the buildings and the mill site and the cabins. This is a photo where you can actually go back to Google Earth, and now you can see where it actually was. So let's fly into it. And what I did is I took that photo and I made an overlay onto Google Earth. So let's look at the old picture. So here, like I say, here Iron Fork dumps out, and straight across is where those cabins used to be. So let's look on the map. So here's Iron Fork, it dumps out, straight across is where those cabins are. Now the actual mill site and all that, if you look over here, here's the point, Dave's cabin. And I'll show you in a part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you how to do overlays. And you can add it into Google Earth. And you can have it match to the terrain. I mean, this is cool stuff. Now what I did is on that photo is I actually outlined some of these trails. You know, let me go to the original photo. So you can see there's these very light trails, you know, very hard to see. So what I did is I went ahead and just outlined them in blue. And so that's how I can see where these trails were. So this was the high trail that Stanley Miller took, and he would cut straight across to get to his mine. I hope this was cool stuff for you. I'm going to do a part 2 video on how I do these image overlays. It's not tricky, it's very easy. I mean, there's a button right here, image overlay. The hardest part is really tweaking it to match up with the terrain and make it look right. But again, I hope a lot of this information helped. This is the way to do it. Google Earth is the best resource. As a bonus, I'm going to show you guys something cool. You know, some people are into it, not everybody. But meteorites. There's a lot of time that we spend in the desert, for example, looking for gold. Well, there's also meteorites. Cuttleback dry lake bed. So if you've ever been out by Randsburg or, Johannesburg, any of that, directly east is a big dry lake bed, and they have found lots of meteorites there. And what's cool about that is they have GPS coordinates for all this. These are all actual GPS coordinates for meteorites that have been found on this dry lake bed. So if you're ever in the area, like I say, Randsburg and all that, it's a dry lake bed right here. So if you're maybe finding a meteorite one day, come check this place out. All right, so that's all I got for today. Hopefully you found a few good little bits of information, something useful. Again, anything free. So if it's on the internet and you can search it, then go for it. Use it to your advantage. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please leave some feedback. Drop a like, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing. Thank you all for the support, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.